Do you think you can find love on a social network? Many of the people I talk to tell me yes, but others disagree. I don't really have an answer, but I'll be honest. After what I experienced that night, I really don't want to try. It all started the day a girl added me on Snapchat. Her name was Cheryl. The girl was very nice, and she had a huge amount of followers. I was just learning how to use the platform, so I didn't understand how this girl could be interested in me. But at the same time, those were just numbers. Over time, I started to become more active on the platform and began to attract Cheryl's attention. She would like my photos, and over time, we started talking to each other. When I would talk to her, I would realize why she had added me before. Despite her huge number of followers, the girl was simple and authentic. She wasn't interested in being famous at all. She just liked the idea of connecting with people. She sent me pictures of herself all the time, and I did the same. We talked all day and knew everything about each other. After 3 months, we were almost in a relationship, but as I was getting ready to take her out to a movie, something weird happened. One day, she sent me a selfie while she was cooking, but behind her disinterested smile, something caught my attention. "Hey Cheryl, did you invite someone to your house?"
What? No. Why you ask?
I saw Cheryl's selfie again, and I was very confused. From the kitchen, you could see her room, and it looked like there was a silhouette staring from it, looking at her from the darkness. "Listen, I don't want to alarm you, but look at your picture. Doesn't it look like there's someone in your room?" Cheryl took a few seconds to answer me. Unsure, she was checking the picture.
Oh my God, I think it's a piece of furniture. But it looks scary. I don't know if I want to go check it out.
"Are you sure that's a piece of furniture? Maybe you should call the police." Cheryl didn't answer me for a while, so much so that I started to worry. "Hey, are you there? You're worrying me."
Here I am. I just walked into my room, and it was just a piece of furniture. Although I must admit that I'm very scared. The piece of furniture doesn't look that much like the silhouette in the picture.
When I saw the picture, I was confused. It could be a trick of the light, but I wasn't sure. "I don't know."
I just checked the house. I'm definitely alone.
"Well, I'm more relaxed, but be careful." After that, Cheryl kept cooking, and we didn't bring up that topic again. Unfortunately, this would not last long. The next day, as soon as Cheryl came back from work, she told me she was back home safely and sent me a selfie of herself smiling. In the picture, she looked worried. She must have had a bad day. I tried to give her a pep talk to calm her down, but something weird was going on. She wasn't responding to me anymore. As the hours went by, I became more and more worried. I looked at her picture constantly, and in it, there was something I had not noticed. From the window of her house, someone was watching her. This was no coincidence. It wasn't a tree or someone just passing by. This was a person standing at the window of her house, staring at her. Immediately, I received a message from her. When I read it, I can swear my heart stopped. In the message, it said that someone had kidnapped her, but she still had her cell phone. She shared her location and sent me a picture via Snapchat to show me where she was. It looked like she was in a car. She knew the streets where she was going, and she was a few kilometers away. That day, I was at a party at my house with my friends. So I asked them to call the police, and I ran to where she was. I could have told them to help me, but I knew it could be dangerous, and I didn't want to involve them. After all, the gathering was at my house, and just in case, I always kept a gun to use in case of an emergency. As the minutes passed, I somehow felt like I was catching up to a moving car. I guess the car was moving pretty slow, but I was running like never before in my life. I had to save Cheryl. I would never forgive myself for having the chance to help her and not doing so. After several minutes, Cheryl stopped moving, and she sent me one last picture. It looked like a dark alley with a gray door in the middle. Surely, this was where they were going to hide her. I ran the last few blocks, and in an act of stupidity, thought I could save her alone. So I entered the alley. I approached the gray door I had seen in the photo and opened the door. But before I could enter, I heard someone walking behind me.
"It looks like Romeo came to save Juliet."
I turned around, pointing my gun in the direction of the voice. But when I saw who was in front of me, I couldn't believe it. It was Cheryl. She was safe, looking at me with a cocky, playful smile. Suddenly, a man came out of the gray door and threw me to the floor, pulling out my gun.
Did you bring a gun? What were you gonna do, Indiana Jones? Kill us all? Cheryl, run! Run while you can!
Something was wrong. Cheryl wasn't running away, but it wasn't because she was afraid. She was laughing.
Boy, I have to admit, it's really sweet that you came to save me. It seems I chose well. I've always been good at judging people at a glance.
What are you talking about?
Oh, by the way, I'm sorry for the rudeness. This is John, my boyfriend.
Nice to meet you, Felix. Cheryl tells me you're very athletic, and you don't drink alcohol. Is that true? What?
Excuse me. John is quite abrupt, but these are questions we need to ask you. We need to know how your organs are.
What are you talking about? Let me go! You see, Stud, Cheryl and I are in the business of selling organs on the black market. In this warehouse, we have a few tools to keep your organs looking like new. Do you know how much they offer them on the black market?
A lot of money. And we've only done it with bums. Your organs must be excellent.
No, please, I beg of you, let me go!
Hey, I've grown very fond of you in these months, Felix. I'm not doing this for the money. I want to have a souvenir of you.
With a huge smile, Cheryl pulled a pocket knife out of her pocket. Quickly, she took off my slippers and socks. And coolly, she put her knife to the little toe of my foot.
Are you ready, beautiful?
No, please, no, please. Ah!
Before I could finish begging her, Cheryl ripped my pinky toe off with tremendous speed and precision. The pain was immediate. I felt myself starting to lose blood. And worst of all, I knew it was just the beginning.
Cheryl, stop playing. We have to go.
All right. But first, let me take out his eye. I'm not satisfied with just a finger.
Oh, come on!
With the knife in hand, Cheryl slowly approached my eye. Her smile was shining. She looked so excited and happy, and I could tell she was having a good time. Suddenly, Cheryl froze still, frozen in fear. Someone was holding a knife to her neck. John stood up and tried to get into the house again. But 4 other men stopped him, threw him to the floor, and started hitting him. They were my friends. Felix, are you all right? Isaac, what are you doing here? Come on, we have to get you to a hospital. We'll tell you later. And that's how it all ended. Some of my friends took me to the hospital while others stayed with Cheryl and John. On the way, I could see several police cars heading toward the area. My friends told me that they didn't trust me and that they knew something was wrong. So they went on Snapchat from my computer and saw all the pictures Cheryl was sending. One of them knew that alley. So between all of them, they grabbed the knives from my house and headed there as soon as possible. After that, the police arrested the criminal couple. Apparently, they had already been charged with robbery and attempted murder. But nothing like this time. For my part, I still believe that one can fall in love through a social network. But for the moment, I prefer to date the girls that my friends introduced me to. I had a really scary experience a couple of years ago. Now, during this time, I was back at my parents' house for the summer after my freshman year of college. I have a best friend named Jake. He lived like 2 blocks away, and we would walk to each other's houses all the time. We'd play video games together and had played on the same basketball team in high school. One night that summer, I was at home and in my bedroom. I had recently got back from my part-time summer job that I had. When I went on Snapchat to respond to some snaps and see what was going on with my friends, I saw that Jake had posted a story. Jake would occasionally post Snapchat stories like most friends, but he wasn't known to post anything that crazy or that many Snapchat stories. Jake is known as a pretty calm guy, and what I saw that he posted was really odd and out of character for him. There was like 10 Snapchat videos with a few pictures as well. Each one was really random and hard to tell what it was. Some appeared to be of the ground at nighttime, others the floor of a house, and you could see a few other people's feet. I couldn't tell who anybody was though. I also couldn't make out anybody speaking in the videos. It was just really bizarre, and unlike him to be posting this. I slid up on his story responding to it and asked him what was going on. Within minutes, he had seen my response to his story and opened it but did not reply. The stories had all been posted about an hour earlier, and I wanted to know what was going on, so I decided to go over to his house. Even though it was like 10 o'clock at night, we were that close of friends. I walked the 10 minutes that it took to get to his house, and then knocked on his front door. Jake answered it and asked me what was up. I told him that I saw his stories on Snapchat and was wondering what was going on. He told me that he didn't post anything on Snapchat. Jake went on to say that he lost his phone earlier that morning and tried to find it, but he couldn't. He asked me what was posted to his story. I went inside, and we both went over the stories that were posted to his account. I showed them to him, and he realized that somebody must have found his phone and took it. Now they were posting to his Snapchat. Based on the Snapchat videos and pictures, there really wasn't much to go on. We were not that good of detectives to see where the people were. We also didn't know why on earth anybody would post these stories at all. Then we suddenly remembered the Snap map. Jake had his location turned on. We both figured out whoever took the phone probably turned it off, but we looked anyways just in case. When we did, we saw that his location was actually still on. It showed exactly on the map where his phone was, and it was only about 10 minutes ago that it had been used there. We both compared it to Google Maps and soon had the exact address. It was a house that was maybe a 10-minute drive from where we were. Jake and I both decided to go to the house. We left Jake's house and got into his car. Then we followed the directions to get to the address. None of us had been to that neighborhood before. When we got there, we saw that it did not appear to be the best neighborhood. The houses were small and not very nice looking. They seemed run down and the yards were overgrown, and we saw several broken down looking cars. Nevertheless, we parked on the side of the road in front of the house. We both got out and walked up to the front door. Then we confirmed that this was in fact where his phone had been, and it was. Jake firmly knocked on the front door. After a few seconds, we saw the curtains from the front window open for just a split second. We looked over to see somebody ducking back and closing the curtains quickly. They clearly didn't want to be seen. Jake then shouted from the other side of the door. He said that he lost his phone earlier in the day and the location was showing it to be here. He said that the only thing he wanted was his phone back, and they could just throw it out the door to him and we would leave. We got nothing in response, but about a minute later, we heard a noise from behind the house. Somebody was back there and outside. Now, this was a really bad idea, but we decided to go around back. We left the front step and walked around the side of the house. We hadn't even made it around to the backyard yet when Jake spoke again. He said basically the same thing that he had said before. He really wanted his phone returned to him and was mad that somebody had took it, so I can't really blame him. All of a sudden, though, we heard some yelling and the people running. They were men's voices, and they were telling us to get the F out of here. I saw for a brief second at least 3 men running full speed at us. Jake and I just took off. The guys were a ways back but approaching quickly. We ran to the front yard and then into the street. The guys were going so fast behind us that we wouldn't be able to make it to Jake's car and get inside of it on time. Instead, we were forced to run past his car and down the street. We were both decently fast guys, but the people behind us seemed to be almost as fast. We made it to the end of that street and then ran to the next one over. The guys behind us seemed to stop chasing us at that point. There was a little park and we ran in there and hid behind some trees. We stopped and caught our breath, and we tried to figure out what to do. We stayed there for maybe 5 minutes and then carefully headed back to Jake's car. When we got to his car, we didn't see outside or near the house. After that, we just left. We went back to Jake's, and he said that he would just have to buy a new phone. At least we tried to get it back. Looking back at that night, we probably should not have gone to the house. It could have been really dangerous, but we didn't think about it going into the situation. The location from Jake's phone was turned off after, so I don't know what happened to it. I do know that Jake ended up getting a new phone though. I'm a senior in college at the moment. This happened during last semester in the fall. Like most college kids, I use Snapchat to communicate with the majority of my friends, and I've used it for many years. I don't really get added by people that much unless I know them in person. So around the beginning of last semester, when I started getting added by people a lot, I thought it was strange. It didn't take me long at all to figure out that the people adding me were bots. I would get added by a bot roughly once a week, sometimes multiple times in a week. They would always be a female and oftentimes would send me some sort of spam chat message or something like that. When this happened, I would always just ignore it and would never add them back or anything like that. One day, I got added by another account with a female name. I looked at the account to see that it was more than likely another spam account. I didn't recognize the name and the user didn't have a Snap score when I looked. After that, I deleted them and moved on, but a short time later, I received a Snapchat from them. It was a text message and I expected it to be another spam message, but when I clicked on the chat, it was pretty threatening. They said something like I better watch my back and I was in trouble. They also said they were going to get me. This actually got me to respond. I asked who this was and why they said that. They only responded to say basically the same thing, but in all caps. I was kind of creeped out by this. I was a pretty quiet guy and didn't really have that many friends at college, but the friends that I did have were very close, and I knew they wouldn't do something like that to me. But still, I decided to ask any of them if they knew anything about it. They all told me no and didn't seem to know why I was getting these messages. The next day, I got another threatening and cryptic message. It was just saying basically that I was a bad person and that I was in trouble. I asked who the person was who was sending me this. They didn't respond to me at all, and at that point, I decided to block them. That way, they wouldn't be able to contact me anymore. But later in that day, I saw I was added by another account. This account was another female name. I decided to look up the name, but it came back with no results on all social media sites that I looked it up on. They sent me the same message again, and I immediately blocked the account this time also. After that, I started getting paranoid. Everywhere that I went around campus, I would wonder if I was being watched or who wanted to get me. When I was in classes, I would wonder if it was another student, or when I was in the I never seemed to get any clues as to why someone was threatening me like this. I didn't get added again for 2 days, but then I was added by another person. This person's name I also didn't recognize and I got another message from them. At this point, I looked in my settings and was able to change them so that nobody could send me snaps unless I had added them back. This made me feel a little bit better. I did get added by another person the next day, but I never bothered to look after I didn't recognize their name. After this, I figured whoever it was would give up. I didn't get added by anyone else for a while. I was starting to feel better about things until one day I was added by another user again. When I looked, it was actually a girl who I had in a class with me and she occasionally talked to me. I added her back, but a short time later, I saw that she had snapped me. When I opened up the message, I could clearly see that it was someone else pretending to be her. Her snap score was very low and I got another threatening message. I immediately blocked the account. This really creeped me out to know that whoever was threatening me even knew the name of the classmates who I talked to. For the rest of the semester, I was on edge, but I didn't get added by any more people. This semester has gone by fine and nothing has happened since. I just still wonder who it was though and why they were doing it.